Hello. So I will speak about European health data for longevity research, how to share better, faster, and also with better curation. First, the reminder. Today, like every day, about 120,000 people will die of diseases related to old age. That's not 90% of deaths in a country like Ireland, 70% in the world, and even in the poorest country, it is more than 50%. So it is the first problem that you can imagine, at least if you consider that human life is something important. What I think is that it is very probably possible to find a treatment against aging within 15 to 30 years. It will probably be very complicated, very expensive, and what we need is this big data, artificial intelligence, and clinical trials. That could be enough. Well, of course, it could be also not absolutely necessary. It could be not enough, but I think the chance is big that it will make it possible for the scientists working in this field to obey to what some lawyers call the duty to rescue. The fact that when it is possible to save lives, it is a moral and in some countries a legal obligation. So now, speaking about big data. Big data, first, there is the de facto situation in most countries and in all European countries for sure. It can be summarized as you have not the right, but the obligation to share your health data with private companies, with public organizations, if you want to use their services, but of course, if you are ill, you don't have any choice. And the institution will sell their data or make it available only with restrictions. And if you want to share it for longevity science, it's not possible. It's not possible because you are not the sole owner of the data. It's partly the property of the hospital. It's partly the property of the software organization and so on. So you are not allowed to share the data with scientists. When you try to do it, even if you decide, scientists will have a problem if they use their data and if they use your data, and even if they can publish the data, they will have a problem because the publication will be not considered good enough because it's not answering, let's say, what it's called ethical necessities. So, of course, your health data is something sensitive. I know many people speak about privacy here also. Well, it's sensitive, but it is less sensitive than your political life. It is less sensitive than your sex life. It is less sensitive than much of your private life. And I don't understand sometimes why it is something that so many people consider as very important not to share. And it would be a lot less risky if the health system would be a public health system and if health data were not to be sold. Concerning that, so what we need is not to have enough health data, because we have enough health data, more than enough. The problem is how to share health data, to know which human clinical trials we could start immediately, to know which existing drugs are very probably positive longevity effects or negative longevity effects, and for small longevity progress, and to prepare real breakthroughs. One of the biggest problems of the situation at the moment is general slowness of science. So because of a crazy world, especially here in Europe, crazy bureaucracy, I think also crazy IP laws and profit incentives. And so we are in a situation where in almost the best cases, scientists are using something like 20% of their time for the real scientific work and 80% for other activities, trying to fund their work, trying to sell their work, and so on. So this brings us to the quite infamous Ehrum's law, the contrary of Moore's law, the fact that each 9 years, I heard the day before yesterday, each 9 years, the time and the money necessary to make a new health discovery is doubling. So in a time where, of course, all other things related to science are accelerating, and especially all IT things. To share better, we could imagine that we support the work for sharing data at the world level. So the WHO would be the perfect place, but the problem is there is no hope on this site, at least on the short term. So we could go on the European level. And on the European level, there is what is called the European Health Data Space. And this new legislation, who is not yet published, but almost there, is very positive. So there is the principle of interconnectivity of all databases, at least at the European level. The principle that the data should be used only for non-commercial goals, so what they call altruist databases, and that it can be shared with scientists. The problem, the main problem, once again, is here bureaucracy, slowness. So you have you have a print screen of one slide that I saw just a few days ago during a conference concerning the European Health Data Space. And actually, the lines there, that's 2 years. So in the best case scenario, it's only in 2030 that the use of health data for what's called secondary use, so for scientific research, not only for the people who are sick, only in 2030, normally at the moment that it will be really working. So we have to try to make this going faster. I think this is the most important question. Well, we should, of course, better use, better share and better curate the information. It should be, and it is already, but it should be even more possible to use artificial intelligence to find the information and to curate the information. And actually, some people are afraid of artificial intelligence for privacy aspect, but it's almost the other way around, you know. So it can be organized that no human is going to really examine your data and know about your dirty secrets. Well, very often not so dirty because it's only about health. Okay. I think also, but I know that not everybody here thinks the same way, but that not-for-profit ways of working are better for science, for trust, and for security. Concerning the aspect of security, if health data were not to be sold, if it was only for common good, there would be less problem of security because people would be less willing, less tempted by stealing it because there would be nothing to win if you can sell it. Also, when you ask people in the large public if they want to share money with private companies, they don't want. But if you ask them, do you want to share your public data for scientific research, they accept easier. So also for me, and this is also another discussion that directly concerning health data, but for me, a system where we would work patent-less would make it possible to work a lot faster, and at least patent-less, so without patents, at least when something is paid with public money. And also one sentence to say, one of the big problems of the patents at the moment, it's not only that you can not use things, but as long as the patent is not not officially recognized, you cannot even share the information and share the data informally because you risk to be not able to have the patent. So this would be useful for many reasons, and among the reasons for better sharing of data once again, but also because it makes it easier to have the publication of negative results, and because it made it easier to have research outside of patentable fields. So, in one word, in one sentence, I think that health data should be common. Data not for profit can be better, but it can also be better for when you use it after for profit. So use of data can be for profit or can be public, but sharing data should be a really common good, once again. And we should constantly emphasize that privacy rules, IP rules, patent rules, commercial rules are not above the fundamental human rights, but they have to be compatible with human rights. Okay, now to say it maybe in a poetical way, we should stand on the shoulders of the health data giants, but there is a taboo of 5 letters. 5 letters that today, yesterday, and the days before nobody used. It's IQVI. Did you know that this small American company of 86,000 people is using health data and the health data in about 140 countries since more than 60 years, and using it to sell it to doctors, to sell it to scientists, and making it actually impossible to reach for most scientists because the scientist has to pay. So, for example, in my country, Belgium, during a meeting in the parliament, somebody said that hundreds of millions of pieces of health data are sold every year by healthcare providers to a multinational company, so IQVI, and then the IQVI resells them to the government after processing them. You have the same situation in France. In 50% of the pharmacies, the citizens, where they are going in there, they give, without knowing it, the health data to IQVI, and IQVI is using that. Well, for me, IQVIA data and data of other health data brokers, but there are not so many other, should be available to longevity scientists. And we would, if we had this possibility, we would have data for, once again, decades and for hundreds of millions of people. Okay, now coming to the conclusion. First, what we need, reliable shared big data, you know it already. Fast clinical test, that's for another speech. More research, of course. A sense of urgency, I'm not the first one to say that, and use of AGI. And that's it, except that many of you have the possibility to share health big data. And it's not health big data, it's health big data that should be common. I hope that there will come a call to support the share of IQVIA health data, and that's it. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Didier. That was great. Any questions for Didier?
So are there any coordinated efforts, any organizations with the power of numbers behind a push to have this sharing of IQVIA health data?
No, that's a surprise. I didn't know about this only, I would say, 1 or 2 years ago. In France, there was a big controversy concerning this question 3 years ago, but after that it disappeared. So it's really something I don't understand. I'm curious, how, can you raise your hand, the people who knew that about IQVI, that they have data concerning millions of people in many countries? One person, I see. So 1, 2, 3. So, you know, that's not well known. And one of the things that I don't understand, it's in France, also in Germany, also in Belgium, people are sometimes very afraid about US big companies and very afraid, once again, about their health data. And as far as I understand the laws, it should be normally illegal to have such a situation. And nobody, it's like if nobody cares. Once again, I don't understand. Maybe somebody can tell more about this specific question. And yes, and once again, it's not that I don't like, it's not that I have a problem with this specific company. It is that it is a crazy situation that we cannot use that.
Didier, who is the opposition to voluntary sharing of data? These things don't just pop out of nowhere. There's somebody who opposes it. And secondly, when it comes to personal, like for instance, when I go to the doctor, I don't own my x-rays, they do. And who's benefiting from this, and why aren't they being called to task for their antisocial behavior?
Sorry, I didn't understand the last sentence, but concerning the first question, who is opposed? So, two big aspects, all questions related to privacy, that's one. And second aspect, just the health institutions, but also the Apple, Microsoft, and all people creating software, all organizations creating software. It's not that they don't want to share really; it's that they want to sell it and to keep it for themselves. So, yeah.
Okay, thanks very much, Didier.